projects. So I got to talk about my commercial design background again, which was really nice. But yeah, I have my first open house this weekend. So I was wondering, everybody does it a little bit differently, right? I was wondering what all you think I should bring. Like, I'm gonna bring cookies. I'm gonna print out like the MLS sheet, have my business cards, and a little flyer.
Mhm.
And like, do you think like a sign-in sheet?
Oh, definitely a sign-in sheet. You want to make sure that, you have a way to contact them when
Okay,
it's all said and done.
okay,
Um, I, and I'm usually not real good at open houses because I don't like doing them,
okay.
but I need to get better at it. I used to do them all the time, and then you kind of get old, or, in the business a while, and you kind of let other agents do them, and that's kind of where I've gotten, but then I've kind of learned, here lately that, and no offense, you've never done it for me, right?
No.
Okay. Some of the agents that I've had do them, just
Yeah,
don't do a really good job, and I don't, because it's not your listing, or it's not their listing, right?
yeah, I'm gonna go home and research the heck out of that house on the MLS. So I
Yep.
just remember everything off the top of my head, because it's a decent priced home as my first one.
Where's it at?
Whitewood, 20237
Okay.
Remington.
So make sure that you bring a sign-in sheet.
Okay,
Sometimes it's just a sheet of paper with lines and, name and cell number, email. Are they working with an agent?
okay.
Those kind of things. Sometimes Matt might have his own
I think there's one
right there.
in there. So here,
Yeah.
Oh,
let's,
awesome.
Where did you get that?
out of this book.
Is it in that book?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that you probably want to make 2 copies on
Yeah, go through that. Go through the book and they might have
some paper.
Aw, thank you
Sure.
so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
That's what I was gonna say, a sheet like that, each person has their own sheet and they can fill out their information too. So there's different ways to do it. It's not rocket science, it's what, and if you do a lot of them, you start seeing what works, what doesn't work, what people will do, what they won't do.
Okay.
Those kind of things. But for the first one, yeah, do a little research.
Kind of hard type of thing.
There's so many things out there. If you go on the command and you can see the videos and stuff, there's so many agents that claim that theirs is the best. This is the best way to do it. Just do what works for you. Okay. It's always good. Like if Trent's gonna be there, that's really good to have another agent or another person there.
Yeah,
Lender for sure, because then they get a little bit out of it as well.
yeah,
And then you're not there by yourself.
yeah, yeah. That's
And-
what I was kind of worried about, because well, it's Matt's listing. I don't think he's gonna be there for most of it. He might stop by,
Mhm.
just check in on
Yeah,
it.
you probably will, but
But
it's always nice to, especially a young lady, I think it's nice to have somebody else.
yeah, and I'm gonna be door knocking tomorrow on all
Okay.
the neighbors, invite them down.
Maybe, get some other properties that are for sale in the area. And maybe bring an MLS sheet on those.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is, and then nothing that you really hand out to them,
Just a show.
but just something say, hey, if this house doesn't work for you, here are 3 other houses in the area that might. I can sure show you after the open house. And then, of course, bring a buyer agency agreement.
Okay.
Just so you have it, right?
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Wow, I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. That's one of the things I was most excited for about getting my license was open houses. So now that I have one, I'm pumped.
Sorry, this guy knows. Open house.
12 to 1:30. It's in Whitewood.
On Saturday?
Yes. Saturday.
You know, that's the other thing. Saturday or Sunday, what works better? I've never,
Hey,
It's
stay
better than
Thursday.
Friday.
oh yeah, I don't think. We used to try to do weekday open
Yeah.
houses. I just don't think in this area it works.
I did a Friday and I should have been warned because nobody came in. And then the only other one I did was like 4th of July weekend. And I heard that's either hit or miss, and that was like miss too, so just.
And there's another, there's another word of advice. You're gonna get skunked,
Yeah,
you know, from time to time. You got a big double skunk.
Yeah.
Sounds like,
yeah, no,
that's usually what happens to me too, and it's so frustrating.
yeah, it's like, in a way, it's, I guess the good news is. You know, sitting there like you said, like looking up at properties that are close by and, you know, I'm like. Why isn't this printing? What's going on? Like, you know, just, I mean, until you actually do it, you haven't done it, so
Mhm.
it is, I guess, a good dress rehearsal. But yeah,
Yeah, bring your computer. You know, if you don't wanna print, if you don't wanna print stuff out for them for houses in the area, you can, if you have access to the MLS, you can pull them up right there. Hey, here's 3 houses in Whitewood that are just down the street. Here they are, and you can show them on your laptop. You can do cookies and bring some waters and stuff like that. But something that you're not gonna waste a lot of money on.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make them myself.
Oh, there you go. That's good.
Yeah.
And then if not, you'll eat them, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's what I end up doing. I end up bringing cookies. I end up eating them because nobody shows up. So I don't know. I'm kind of a Debbie Downer when it comes to open houses, and I've got to get over that.
Yeah.
But good for you.
so how did you get most of your business originally? Like,
So I'm not born in Rapid City, but I moved here when I was 8.
yeah,
So I've been here forever. Over 50 years. So,
okay,
so I know the area.
Yeah.
I went to high school here.
yeah,
Had a jewelry business here for years. So I know a lot of people. And that's really how I got my business. And you know, I've been doing it for 20 plus years now, and so it's just a lot of repeat stuff. But you know, I've noticed I've been here for so long, and the people that I've dealt with, well, you know, they maybe not buying anymore. You know, maybe they've got their last house,
yeah,
that kind of thing. So the new people coming up, they don't know who I am, you know, and so
Yeah.
you still gotta reach out and you gotta make your phone calls.
yeah,
So is it an advantage? Yeah, I feel bad for people, and you know, and I know you're one of those, but somebody who's moved to the area and is brand new to Rapid City and don't really know anybody, that's tough.
yeah. No, it's funny because I've just been, I mean, it's a good excuse to like make sure you beat, like, call your neighbors and all that stuff, so. But yeah, no, it's like been more or less just kind of meet and greet and. Meet all these interesting people and.
Yeah.
I figure if you just keep trying, it's eventually gonna.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
So,
It's gonna happen. And are you from here originally?
Yeah, I lived in Whitewood for 17 years.
Oh,
And then we moved to Sturgis, lived in Rapid for 2.
so you know the area then. So, you know, you probably have friends that you went to high school with and now they're,
Yeah, those conversations have been fun. There was a guy, he's known me since I was a baby. He just reached out to me last night. And he was like, kind of like hitting on me, and it made me really uncomfortable, but he's like 37 And he was like, well, it doesn't hurt to get turned down by pretty women who have goals in life and yada, 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 and like doing something for themselves. And I was like, so you don't want to talk about real estate? I was like, okay. But yeah, those ones of like reaching out to people I've known in the past,
Well,
they're all right. Most of them are good. But that one last night, I was like, what is happening? And it's my best friend's uncle.
oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
I was like, well, I talked about real estate. That's a contact.
Yeah, there you go. Note to self, don't call.
Don't contact
Uncle
him
Rico
again.
anymore, yeah.
Yeah,
That's kind of weird.
yeah, it was strange. It was really uncomfortable, but
Don't tell him that you've got an open house this weekend.
I think that's what prompted him to message me, because I messaged him right before I got my license and was like, hey, I'm getting licensed type of thing. And then I was gonna follow up with him again because he just left me on red. And then I think he's seen my open house post I made yesterday. And that's what prompted him
Well,
to,
I'm glad Trent's coming with.
me too. Me too.
Yeah.
He messaged me today and asked if I wanted someone to come with me. So I reached out to Matt first. And I was like, hey, it's your listing. Like I would appreciate if Trent came along. But Matt was like, yeah, that sounds great, actually. So
You know what? And I know there's nothing will probably happen with this guy, but you really, really have to be careful.
yeah.
Maybe mention that to Matt. Say,
Okay.
hey, kind of had a weird conversation. I know this guy, but
Yeah.
he made me feel a little uncomfortable.
Well, it's weird because one, he's my best friend's uncle and he's known me since I was a baby.
Yeah,
So I was like, I don't like how that feels.
Yeah.
It's really uncomfortable for
so
me.
maybe let Matt know too, then maybe Matt will swing by.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice when Trent reached out. Yeah, conversations have been fun to say the least.
So how your conversation's going?
With me,
Yeah,
you know, I haven't really, I've had people say, oh yeah, no, that's great. Oh, I'm so excited. But nothing real definitive. I've sent like some properties. And then I've also been trapped in some conversations where I have to, well, you know, Bob lived up there for 20 years and you're like, oh God, how do I get out of this conversation? I'm down in that part of the neighborhood. So, yeah, I just,
yeah, you're gonna have the awkward conversations too.
just keep
Yeah,
plugging away, I guess. That's,
Yep. what you gotta do.
yeah, nothing as awkward as your stuff. Nobody's trying to hit on me.
You're going, dang it, I was.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So.
All right. So any questions about anything else? That's how this started, because she said she was doing her first open.
I do have a question, cause you know how I got licensed in Colorado and then transferred over here.
Yep.
So as far as referral business goes in Colorado, I have to be actively licensed in Colorado to refer, is that?
No, you have to be. You have to be actively. Let me think this through. So give me the scenario.
Oh, just, a person residing in Colorado that I would refer to Keller Williams there.
So if you have a client.
Yeah.
Or a person that wants to buy a house, right? And they're moving to Colorado,
Okay, yeah.
is that correct?
No, it's someone that's already in Colorado that's looking to buy in Colorado.
Oh, so you know somebody from Colorado,
Those
you're
are my
not
lowest
listed.
leads.
You're not there anymore.
Yes,
And you want to refer them to an agent.
yeah,
No, you just do that.
and still get paid.
You'll get paid. It's usually 25%.
Right,
So and it's a Keller Williams agent.
yeah,
So your Keller Williams agent in Colorado
yeah,
will do a referral sheet,
okay,
give you, state that you're getting 25% when this person buys a house.
okay,
And you'll sign it, they'll sign it, their broker will sign it, and I'll sign it.
okay. So I can just let my license go inactive there, and if I ever need it.
Yep,
Then,
Yep.
okay,
just because you're inactive there doesn't mean you can't refer somebody there.
okay, good, cause I get really confused with all these
Yeah.
emails and like, what is it, SLM marketing?
Now, if you're fully licensed there still,
Yeah,
I mean, nothing's stopping you from going down there and showing them the house because you're a licensed agent in Colorado.
it just seems like I probably wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't, but
So, but yeah, cause I mean, that's my, database is like 95% Colorado. It's like, okay, I'm licensed and
well, you can,
so, but I said, we've got referral partners and I can definitely hook you up with some.
Yeah.
And
so that's how it goes. And you could even be the one to fill out the referral sheet.
Okay, okay,
If you wanted to say, hey, Joe, thanks for helping my client out. Let me send you a referral sheet. Are you willing to pay 25%?
okay,
Yes, I am. Okay, great. And then you fill it out and I'll sign it. You can send it down to them.
okay. And in the meantime, if I go, oh, yeah, so if I go inactive, First Realty, Keller Williams, because it looks like I'm gonna get charged in both places. So if I go inactive though, it's just like, I'll just, whatever fees I pay are just to this Keller Williams, right?
Yeah, and you can even let it lapse there if you're never gonna go back.
Or, oh, yeah, no, I called Dora and they said as long as I have to renew my application and do 24 Cs like in the next 3 years, so. And I even said like, well, what if I wanna go active? They said like, you can, you just go online and pay 25 bucks or something. And they said it takes like 24 hours, so it could be a year from now and I still don't even have to do those 24 CEs. So.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, but yeah, I was just kind of curious from the referral.
Yeah, as long as you're licensed somewhere, you can get a referral. You can send a referral anywhere.
Okay, so would it have been different if I had a person here that wanted to move to Colorado?
No,
No, okay,
no,
all right. That's
no,
all.
it'd been the same thing.
That's
You
really
would just,
tricky question.
you would have just found an agent down there. So if you've got somebody that you would refer them to,
Yeah,
you could, all the people that you know in Colorado, you could refer to that one agent. They'd love you, I guarantee it.
okay,
Okay. All right, so we left off last week. There's nobody on, right? We left off last week where we got done with agency, correct?
yeah,
All right. And we were getting ready to start purchase agreements then. So with that, are you guys all, are you both pretty comfortable
with the purchase agreement?
with agency, with being able to explain that? I thought you guys
Yeah.
did very well last week.
Yeah, I think that's.
Okay,
It's drifting practice with Matt, and we went over it a lot, so.
okay, so good. All right, so I'm gonna say you guys are efficient and can do it. If you ever have questions at any time about any of it, you just ask me, all right? All right, we're gonna go purchase agreement, and that's that one there. Are you on purchase agreement? All right. So we're gonna look at the Keller Williams one. Is that what you both have on this is
Yeah.
Keller Williams?
Yes.
Okay. That one I love because we used to have the Rushmore board and the Black Hills board, and they were different. I like when our rules changed that we did our own. We kind of took the best of both of them and kind of combined them, so it's really good. So we're gonna start at the top. So, the little box that says this is a limited agency transaction. And you guys know what limited agency transactions are, right? So if we're doing a Remax, if we're writing a purchase agreement on a Remax property, do we check that box? No, we don't. So that means we don't have to get initials either, from our buyer. The only time you guys are gonna check that box and get initials if it's your listing that you're writing it on, or your team's listing, or my listing and David's listing. Right? And remember, this is really good. David has his team, right? And he's got 8 agents on his team that write contracts or list houses. It doesn't apply to them, remember. So if you're writing something on Jeremy Kaler's property, it's not limited. that's appointed. So keep that in mind. It's
Okay.
only the person, not his team, okay? Section 1 talks about earnest money. Do you know what earnest money is? Explain what earnest money is.
This money shows the seller, agent or seller, I guess how much you want to buy it. It's something you put down, goes to the title company. They hold it until the house is purchased. It's also kind of like a default type of thing. So if something happens and the seller wants the money for a certain occasion, they can have it or it comes back to the buyer.
Yeah, I mean, you got the gist of it, yeah. It shows your seriousness. The more, the better. That's the way I always put it, and I know we're working for that. We're representing the buyer, right? So you're thinking, well, shouldn't it be less because we're trying to get the best deal for my client? Not necessarily. I always tell them, here's how I do it. So let's say, Chloe, you're my buyer. And I'm gonna sit down with you and I'm gonna say, all right, Chloe, I said, we're gonna write an offer on this place. Great. I know you love it. I could tell by the time we walked in there that we were probably gonna be writing an offer, right? Because you really liked it. First thing we're gonna talk about is earnest money. So the house is $350,000. Can you do $1,500 worth of earnest money?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see how she said that? Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Could you do 2,000? Right. So
Yeah.
that's exactly how I do it. And if you say, yeah, I can, I'm gonna say, great, $2,000. And you can either wire it to the title company, or if you have a checkbook, we can write that out to the title company. We can go from there. You want it to hurt a little bit. And see how easy she was for 1,500?
Yeah.
And if she does it like that, and that was perfect, we didn't even practice that. I'm gonna go up. I might go up 1,000, I might go up 500. But I'm feeling her out to see what she's comfortable with. And if you're a little bit hesitant on that 2,000, I'm gonna try to get that amount. And why should we do that?
It just makes you look like a stronger buyer.
Makes you look like a stronger buyer. Any other ideas on that?
Because then they can't really back out.
There you go.
It's tougher. They're more uncomfortable to leave that money there.
There you go. You are, the way you said 1,500, yeah, maybe 1,500 doesn't bother you as much as 2,000. $2,000, you're gonna think twice about backing out of a deal. Just because, I don't want it. And 500, don't do that. There's agents that I sign stuff for that do $500 earnest money, and it's like a buyer would most buyers would walk away from $500 all day long just to get out of the deal.
All they have though, if like the 500 makes them uncomfortable, you think that's?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess
Probably shouldn't be buying it.
there you go.
But-
If it's $150,000 house, which there's not a lot of those anymore,
Yeah,
and they want to do 500, I'm gonna ask them if they can do 1,000, and I'm gonna say, because $1,000, 500 really doesn't fly much anymore, and we might get countered. But if you can do 1,000, that would be great. Well, we don't have it, but okay, well, we'll do 500. But keep in mind, we might get countered and they might not accept our offer if we can't come up with more than that, but we'll give it a shot. That's how I'll do it.
Okay.
So I don't turn it down because of 500, but
trying.
yeah, try to get them at least to 1,000. And kind of the rule of thumb is 1%, 0.5% to 1%. So if you're doing a $400,000 house, you can get 4,000 out of them, that'd be great. And if they can't, then 2,500 or something like that, you know, you can work your way down. But that's kind of how I suggest it, depending, and you kind of get a feel for them when you're working with them. You're showing them the house and all that kind of stuff. You know, but if you're showing them a $500,000 house, I do not hesitate to say, hey, can we do our 5,000 earnest money? You'd be surprised how many people go, oh yeah, no problem. And explain to them. That goes towards the price, right? It's not money that you're gonna, if we say $5,000 and we give them the offer and we don't work that out, if we can't negotiate a deal, you don't have to pay $5,000. You don't pay anything. The only time you're gonna give that money or write that check is when we have an accepted offer. Right? And the only time you can lose that money, you know, is it's really hard to take buyer's earnest money. That's the first thing I tell them. It's really hard to lose your earnest money. If we have a contingency, an inspection, financing, appraisal, or any other contingency that we write in to our purchase, you're not going to lose your earnest money as long as we're following the guidelines. Okay? If we've exhausted all those contingencies and you just say, I want out, I decided I don't want to buy it. Now you can lose your money. So that's why you want the higher earnest money. So they just don't go, I don't want it. $500, they can just walk away and they don't care. You know, $5,000, they're going to go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, maybe we should have thought twice, but I don't want to lose that $5,000. Then I'm going to tell them, you know, that's fine. Let's try to get out on an inspection contingency. You know, let's do the home inspection. You're going to have to pay for it. It's going to be $400, $500. But let's see what comes up on that inspection. We'll just ask for everything that comes up. And if they refuse to do it, then we can back out and say, well, we don't want to buy it. If you're not going to do that, we don't want to buy it. Understood? You get it? Okay. I beat that one to death. Underneath that paragraph that talks about the legal description, that's where you're going to put the legal description of the property, lot 1, block 7 of Sunnyside subdivision or whatever. Then you're going to put the county and the state, and then also known as is the physical address, 123 Main Street or whatever the address is, and then you're going to put the seller's name. Okay. Section 2 is purchase price. So section 2 is what we're going to offer. So if it's listed at 400,000 and we're offering 375, we're going to write 375,000 in there. Okay. Then you're going to write it out like a check. Like, you know, 475,000. Just like you would a check, right? Number 3 talks about multiple offers. There's nobody on there, is there? No. It hasn't been for quite a while. A few weeks.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because I like Zoom. But then I gotta constantly do that. So number 3 is multiple offers. So I call this my kind of a CYA statement. There's about 2 or 3 of these in the purchase agreement where they're just information, right? And it's just kind of covering us because it says buyer acknowledges that when in multiple offer situation, all responses are directed by the seller at their discretion. So that means the seller can do whatever. So this is the section where I tell my client when we're filling it out, hey, they could be multiple offers on this, right? So we need to make sure we're bringing the best offer possible. Because it does come up where you get multiple offers on a deal. There's been times when I call the agent, say, hey, we're gonna be sitting down writing an offer. Great. And in the middle of writing the offer, I get a text, hey, we just got another offer. And you're going, really? That's the first thing that goes through your head. Are they BSing me or not? And they shouldn't. And most of the time they're not. Most of the time they do have an offer. And that's when you sit down with your client and say, all right, well, I just got a text here and they just got another offer. So instead of offering 15,000 low, we should probably, reconsider that. How can we make this a really strong offer now? Can we up the earnest money? Can we make a better offer? Understood? That seller can do whatever they want to do. So they've got 2 or 3 offers sitting there. They can counter us. They can counter everybody the same. Bring your highest and best. Or they can say, this guy's cash. We're gonna try to negotiate this cash before we mess with these other ones. Because cash, you don't have to do an appraisal and it's a quick close usually and things like that. So they can do whatever they want, but that statement there is just talking about, there's really no exact protocol on how things go. Used to be, there's multiple offers, we get a counter offer saying, bring your highest and best offer, but that's less and less, I've found. I don't know about you, but
I just had one, I represented buyers and we knew there was one offer on the table, got the text while we were writing ours that they got a second offer, so we were gonna be number 3. And we didn't get a counter or anything. One of the offers was such a slam dunk, they just took it.
Yep.
So,
Yep. So, and I've also had it where I was the first one in, right? You're the first one in. You give them till tomorrow morning at 8 and they get another offer. They call you and they say, hey, just let you know, we got another offer. We're letting you know that so your client can up their offer. So you call your client saying, well, they got another offer. What do you want to do? Sometimes they'll say, yeah, let's go in at full price. So you redo it, send it over. Or, no, we're just going to stay the same. Chances are you're not going to get it when you do that. Side note to that, when you're the listing agent and you get that other offer after you got the first one, don't forget to call that first one and tell them you got a multiple offer. I did that. I think I did to Karen Soderquist. Ooh, absolute wrong person to do it to. If you're going to do it to anybody, don't do it to anybody, but definitely don't do it to her because boy, she reamed me. And it's just, you get caught up. You got the offer. Oh my gosh, we got this one. Oh, we got another one. They all know that there's multiple offers because you tell them. Hey, well, but you're the second offer, and well, you better make sure you call the first one so they have a chance. That was not good. So don't make that mistake. Number 4 is appraisal. When is it required that appraisal is done? Usually when you have a mortgage, right? There are occasions when your buyer is getting a mortgage, but they're putting a large down payment. That is a situation where you could do an appraisal waiver. When you arrange your open house with Trent, ask him about that. Ask him about appraisal waivers. And have him explain that to you. Usually if you're, you know, it's a $300,000 house and they're putting down 100,000, chances are pretty good they could get an appraisal waiver on that. That makes it a stronger offer, right? Because they don't have to worry about an appraisal.
And it saves you buyer money too.
Yep. And I just talked to one of the lenders I use a lot. They're quoting now about $1,200 for an appraisal. About 900 for the initial appraisal and up to 300 for reinspection fees. Which is stupid. And we're about the most expensive anywhere. If you talk to somebody from Michigan, they're $400 for an appraisal. Ridiculous.
Competition.
Yeah. So that's that with appraisals. If it's a cash deal, don't need an appraisal. Now, on the very rare occasion, your buyer might want to still do an appraisal. All that's gonna do is hold up the deal. You know, I try to talk them out of it. Because really, I always say, well, it's one man's opinion. We could do 2 appraisals and they'd come up with 2 different answers, right? So, I mean, would you not buy this if you're paying 500,000 and it comes in at 475? Are you not gonna buy this house? Usually they'll go, no, I'll buy it, you know, it's cash, it's quick. So usually, I don't think I've ever had an appraisal for cash. I've had them say it, that they want it, but I've usually been able to talk them
So,
out of it.
is the appraisal, I forget, is it usually like after the home inspection? Okay, because I'm just saying, like, if you did get the 475 appraisal, and it was at 500, and you'd be like, well, the inspection just showed there's rats eating the wires or whatever, and we're not gonna buy it.
Oh, yeah, but you're gonna back out of it or ask to have those items fixed
Yeah,
regardless, right?
yeah,
If you've got bad stuff in there. So if you read the very end of that section, it says the appraisal will or will not be ordered until any home inspection contingency is removed.
okay.
So you read ahead, you just wanted to help me out. So.
No, yeah, well, no, I mean, I read it before class, but.
No, I'm kidding, yeah. But usually they won't. I put that in there to kind of protect my client. I don't know if it really does, but let's say and I always check, will not be ordered until the home inspection's done or the contingency is removed. And that way, if something does fall through because of the inspection and the appraisal's already been done, the lender's gonna get charged for it. And we have a little bit better chance of getting the lender to eat that cost than my buyer. Because we asked them not to order it. That has happened a couple times where they paid for it.
Yeah, I've had that too. And the only ones I run into anymore where they actually won't order it until the home inspection's cleared are like banks and credit unions. Everybody else, CMG, they all just order.
They order.
anyway.
Yeah.
And then they just tell the appraiser it can't be done before such and such date, so. I do it a little differently. I always mark that it'll be ordered right away. And then I just make sure I have a conversation with the lender and tell them, make sure it doesn't actually happen, so we can cancel it if we need to.
Yeah, well, I do the exact opposite. I figure, you know what? They're taking the risk.
Right.
And nowadays, with the market now, I don't think it happens. Well, with the market now, if they order it right away, I think those appraisers go pretty quick because they don't have a lot to do. Back in the day, the lenders were ordering it regardless of what we said because they had to get in line. Because there were so many houses that needed appraised. So it's kind of a catch. It doesn't happen too often. Now, as soon as I say that, your first deal. But yeah, it does, right, all right. All right, questions on any of that? We good so far? All right, number 5 is financing. Well, this is where you're gonna say what kind of financing are they getting, who they're working with. Is it cash? If it's cash, you check the cash box. If they are getting a VA loan, you check the VA loan box. And then you would say a letter of the buyer's loan status from, and then you fill out who they're approved with, right? And is it attached or will it be delivered? And I don't know why, does yours not have a box there where it says will be delivered? Or does
That's
yours?
been fixed.
Has it?
I
Okay.
fixed that after you printed. It
Okay.
wasn't in there.
Mine doesn't have a box, so I end up putting I put a box in every time.
It should be fixed now. I called
Okay.
it from Ballard, yeah.
And if you're gonna deliver it, put the date that you're gonna deliver it. Now, hopefully your client is already approved, right? And you already have a letter. And that's the ideal thing. But sometimes you know that they're fine. They've talked to the bank or the lender and they say that they're good. I'll get you a letter. Well, before you get a letter, we write an offer. So you could put the next day or 2 days, you know. Not very often do you not get a deal because you don't have a letter or the letter hasn't been delivered yet. It could come into play when you're dealing with multiple offers. So if you've got 3 offers there and 2 of them have approval letters and we don't, they're probably gonna pick one of those other 2. Unless they really like you as a agent. And that has a lot to do with it too. If you're-
Full offers, it all matters.
Yep, if you're a good agent, you're easy to work with and you're thorough in your paperwork and you get your stuff done. And the agent you're dealing with on the other end knows that. They're gonna probably want to work with you and they're gonna try to convince their seller to go with our offer because, hey, they really like Will. And I've had that happen. You know, and I've also been on the other end when I've got the multiple offers and I tell my client, yeah, let's stay away from this. They're close offers. Let's go with this one because we like the agent. The agent's really easy to deal with. We know they've got great clients and they're on the ball. Makes a lot of difference. I mean, I've got one now. That I've got the buyer. It's a Veterans United. And the lender at Veterans United it's just been horrible. Just been horrible to deal with. And the agent on the other end this morning told me, she goes, well, this deal is gonna make me think twice about accepting an offer with Veterans United on the other end. And I told her, I said, I get it. I says, they're usually really good. This guy is not. I don't blame you, but because I don't, if I bring another one to her someday, I don't want her to not take it, right? So you gotta stick up for them a little bit, but I totally get it. I've had agents. Who was it? It was years ago. I think it was Kathy Sunday when she was somewhat sane still. She did a lot of business and now she's 85.
Yeah.
She countered me on a deal. Countered to use her lender, a particular lender, which I just I was shocked, but. You remember Tom Lassine, when Tom? God, maybe,
I don't.
you know Tracy Lassine,
Mhm.
okay, her husband was a lender.
Yeah.
A very well-known, very popular lender, did a lot of business. And she in the counter offer, sell or buyer to use Tom Lassine. And I'm like, that's BS.
That's no, I'm not sure that's even legal.
Well,
I've countered lenders though. Being on the listing side and they come in, especially when like Wells Fargo was still in the mortgage business. No way, we won't close. Wells Fargo, I've countered a few times and then Blacklist Federal I'll counter sometimes. too. Yeah. So you can use anybody else.
I don't care. Yeah. So, but you don't get that very often either, but occasionally you will. So that's why you pick if you start to use one lender, one or two lenders exclusively, make sure they're good. Blue Ribbon's one that is hard
Mhm.
to deal with.
Reputation matters. It doesn't matter how good the offer is, if you'll never get to the closing table.
Yeah.
Or they make it a nightmare every step of the way.
Yeah, that's true. So get to know your lenders. Did Trent reach out to you or did you reach out to Trent?
Kind of mutual, Matt set up the meeting mostly, like gave me his information, I reached out,
Yep.
and then he set up the meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys like that, a lot of lenders will come in and try to introduce themselves when they know that there's new agents. And I think that's good. Get to know them, take them out to lunch or take them out to coffee and ask them questions. And I used to have those guys come in this class and we've kind of gotten away from it, but they used to come in and when I'd have 6 or 8 new agents in here, affiliated would come in and Troy used to do it, but then Trent started taking it over because Troy got tired of doing it, which I don't blame him. But they talk about how to approve, how the approval process, and they talked about title insurance and things like that. So those guys are very knowledgeable in the different programs and the different advantages of using different things or different, VA versus conventional or FHA versus conventional. So you're gonna check the box. So your approval letter is gonna say so-and-so is approved for a conventional loan or an FHA loan. This is my opinion. If it says conventional loan, great, you're gonna check the box conventional loan, you're gonna submit the offer and still get accepted, great. A kind of a common lender move that I've seen more than once is they go, you know what? FHA rates are really good right now. We're gonna go ahead and switch this to an FHA loan. No. And, of course, you gotta do what? If you're changing anything with the purchase agreement, what do you gotta do? Yeah, an addendum. Did you say annulment?
Yeah, I don't.
That's not, no, that's a marriage. No, you have to do an addendum, so you've got to change the terms, right, of the purchase agreement. And when you do that, if you go from a conventional to an FHA, we've got to do that. And then, of course, you tell your seller, and a lot of sellers don't realize the difference. I have an old grumpy, savvy seller that I sent that to him because this happened. And he called me up and he goes, bullshit, not signing it. And I go, okay. And he goes, well, that's why we picked this offer. And it's because I know there's some things that are going to be tagged on a FHA appraisal and probably won't on a conventional appraisal. So if they're not gonna do conventional, I'm not selling it to them. And that's what I did. I called the other agent and I said, he's not gonna sign that, so you're gonna have to keep it conventional, and they did. But don't do that. You know, if there's you know, I'd rather go from an FHA to a conventional than, you know, the other way around. Right? Because each appraiser has to follow guidelines for the different types of programs they're doing. Okay? All right, questions on financing? Understood. You know how to fill out the lines, any questions about filling out any of the blanks or anything? Okay,
What if you just switch lenders but not loan product?
if you switch lenders, I would do an addendum too.
Because you're still changing it.
Yeah.
So if you go from affiliated to CMG, both conventional,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Anytime you change anything, really, you should change it. I know it's tempting not to. It's like, it's not gonna be a big deal, but do it. Anytime that you have communications, you don't want any surprises. You know, I did and I know we're talking, you know, maybe a little ahead of the game, but we had a deal a few years ago. And it was my team that had the deal. And we're dealing with Arlen. And closing, let's just say closing date was August 30th. So we had this deal going August 30th. And when we get to this point, it's gonna say closing to be on or before, right? So that's the verbiage in the purchase agreement. So on or before August 30th. We had, everything was done, everything was ready. Our buyer was ready, wanted to know if they could close like August 20th. It was a small, it was 10 days around there, 7 to 10 days. And they said, yep, fine, no problem. It was just a verbal deal. And Craig let the lender know that, yeah, we'll close on the 20th. And all the paperwork got ready and everything got submitted. And we said something to Arlen, well, we're gonna do the walkthrough on the 19th or whatever. And he's like, what? No, I thought we were closing the 30th. Well, you gave us said that your client would be ready. Well, they kind of changed their mind. They thought they had till the 30th. That was a mess. You know, it says honor before, and that was Craig's excuse. Well, it says honor before, so that's why we didn't do an addendum. So, and I can't remember how, I mean, they closed eventually. I don't know, probably wasn't on that day, but if you're changing it, even if you're doing it before, get it in writing. Get that addendum signed. And then you gotta get it to everybody. You gotta get the title company, you gotta get the lender. So that everybody knows, right? In this case, the sellers didn't sign anything, so they still, and really, terms of the contract said August 30th, right? So you can't go back at them. You can't say, well, no, that's what it is. So make sure that anything that you change gets an addendum, okay? And I have scenarios for pretty much everything. Homeowners insurance. I always say this offer is contingent upon buyer obtaining proof of insurability. Now, that's not saying, we have the option to get insurance or not get insurance. No, it's insurability. Is your client insurable? Is the house insurable? Those are the things that they check for.
What time frame are you putting on those?
I do the same as a home inspection, which is 12 days, 12 business days. Well, this says 12 calendar days on here. I don't know why it's different, but that's what I do. So when we're filling it out, this is this portion of it where I say to my buyer, I say, all right, now this is the homeowner's insurability. When we get an accepted offer, the first thing you're gonna wanna do, I mean, I can help set up the home inspection, but the first thing you're gonna do is find in homeowner's insurance. So who do you have your cars with? Who do you have your current home with? Who do you have your renter's insurance with? Give them a call. It doesn't mean you have to stick with them. You don't have to stick with Progressive or whoever. Just make sure the house is insurable and you're insurable. That's all it is. Okay? What do you do?
Well, I had one not long ago, I don't know, maybe 6 months, and of course, insurance is a big deal right now, so. And it was a high hail risk area, and, so I put 15 calendar days on,
Mm-hmm.
and we actually got a counter for that, shortening it in half.
Mm-hmm.
It was 7, which surprised me. We took it.
Who the heck were you working with? That sounds like a Kaler deal.
It wasn't Kaler, it was, it'll come to me. It was a KW agent. I can't remember who though. And we ended up backing out of the deal because we could put insurance that made the payment affordable. We would have lost it on financing because we could not find it. The lowest quote we got was like $7 grand a year.
Really?
Because of the area and it was mobile. But, yeah, so, but that counter surprised me. It seemed kind of pointless, but.
Yeah, I don't like it when they counter. I think I'm pretty reasonable when it comes to the days, the insurance days and the inspection days. But when I get countered, it irritates me.
Yeah.
On that. You know, and I can usually get the inspection done in time, but you know, it puts a little pressure on your guy and so.
And I think the reason was the seller and the agent both probably suspected insurance would be an issue.
Right.
So if we couldn't find insurance that was acceptable, they wanted the deal back on the MLS as quickly as possible. So I get it, but it just rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, and I will say this, you put that in there and it's as important and you know, we're very aware of the inspection process. Opposite on this, I think that is one part of the purchase agreement that gets missed a lot. People don't see the importance of it, and when you put that on your buyer, because it's really up to them, right? We're not gonna go around calling insurance companies for them because they're the ones that have to do it. And they also take them into consideration, right? What if they have, I mean, if they're approved for a mortgage, chances are they're gonna get approved for insurance, but I have seen it where maybe they had too many claims, something like that. And they do check out the consumer.
Well, that was part of our $7,000 quote was my buyer had multiple fail claims. So the insurance company took that into account and it reflected in the premium.
Yep.
So,
well, there you go. So, but that is one that gets overlooked. And do we remove that contingency? You should.
I've never seen somebody do it.
And
I've never done that.
I every once in a while I'll put inspection and insurance is removed. But it's I usually don't. So
We just send a letter saying they're approved for the homeowners.
it's usually a contingency removal because it's a contingent. If you read number 6, offer is contingent.
Okay.
So anytime it's a contingent part of the contract, you would use a contingency removal form, okay? So if you've got insurance, inspection, home sale, any of those types of contingencies, and you want to remove that contingency, you use that form. You know, I typically don't remove a home sale contingency either. Because it's usually right before closing
Or say nay.
or same day. And I will, you know, if I can, and I know maybe this is totally wrong and slimy, maybe, I don't know, but I figure, you know what? If I can keep that contingency on my client, it's gonna protect them, and we have every intention on closing, but what happens, you know? So, and it does get removed, unless the other agent asks for it. If the other agent asks for it, then I do it. Have you removed that contingency, you know, and it's like, oh, yeah,
Right.
we'll do it, but I don't know, I usually don't. So, but don't do what I do, do what I teach, right? All right, personal property, this is, we usually convey, personal property items in a bill of sale, right? Washer, dryer, fridge, stove, window coverings, those kind of things are pretty normal things on a bill of sale. When you start giving things like hot tubs and big riding lawnmowers and stuff like that of value, I always feel that we run that risk of an appraiser. Well, appraisers sometimes will say, well, you're paying $400,000 because they're giving you this $15,000 hot tub. Right?
Mhm.
And they don't, and the bank isn't financing a $15,000 hot tub, but they're financing the $400,000 house, right? So I tell my clients to leave those big items off, and if they are giving it to them, maybe we'll do another bill of sale that has some sort of a value for that.
I'm double siding one right now. Cash deal with an appraisal.
Ooh,
And the bill of sale is 50,000, 50,000, because of all of this stuff.
all the stuff they're leaving.
Yeah. And we appraised.
Yep, I did a deal a few years back, it was a cash deal, and they were selling everything with it. And they wrote, well, they closed out, but then they wrote a separate, I think they wrote a $45,000 check for all the stuff inside. Just to kind of keep it. I don't know, maybe for the books or for whatever, appraising for comparables, that kind of thing. So if you got issues like that, if you've got big dollar things, come and talk to me and we'll work it out. Just don't swing or, you know, wing it, because I don't want you to get in trouble. Number 8 is home sale. That's the sale of the buyer's property. Those are always fun. Hopefully you're gonna check A where it says it's not contingent, right? And then you flip the page and you go to number 9. Perfect. But in the event that you are checking B, there's 3 different options. So number 1, this offer is contingent upon, is it the sale and close or the close? There's a difference. If it's sale and close, that means you've got the property listed, but you have no offer. That's the way I look at it anyway.
Or that's the one I use when it's not even listed.
Or
Yeah.
it's not listed. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, listed or unlisted, but no offer. That's what you do first. If you have it under contract, you can check close of the buyer's property. Either way, you're gonna put the address in the line below of the property you're selling. Okay? I also, in other provisions, if my client's property is under contract already, I state that in other provisions. Buyer's property at 123 Main Street is already under contract and scheduled to, or set to close whatever the closing date that was accepted. That way, it's not as bad. You know, if that seller looking at this purchase agreement with the home sale knows that, wow, it's gonna close, August 3rd, then you're good. Right? Next page. Then you're gonna go, what option? So if you ever hear anybody talk, if you're sitting around one of these meetings or whatever, and somebody says, we have a home sale contingency 8B2. So 8B is the home sale, and 2 means option 2, right? Option 2 says seller may only accept other offers subject to the rights of the buyer. So we call that a right of refusal. That's, if anybody talks about a right of refusal offer, that's what this is. So, and usually, you put 24 hours, 48 hours. I usually put 48. What that means is they're accepting our offer. Great. Got our offer accepted with the home sale contingency. If another offer comes in that they want to accept, they're going to negotiate it out. That seller's going to negotiate it out, and then they're going to call me and say, hey, Will, we've accepted another offer. Your client has 48 hours to remove their contingency,
Or they're fired.
or they're out. Right? That, what happened?
Well, it wasn't my client, it was somebody who signed with another agent. I don't think they're Keller Williams. They were upset and came to me, and was like, I wish we would have waited for you to just get your license, because they had 72 hours to either sell their house or get it removed, and I was like, well, I don't know too much about this, so I asked Matt for some assistance, but that makes sense. They would probably have some sort of.
Yeah,
contingency.
and that's what it was. It was,
Okay.
it was probably an 8B2, and
Okay.
so how would you guys remedy that? How would you prepare your buyer? Your buyer has a house to sell, right? How would you prepare them for that? Or prepare for that?
In advance, knowing.
Yeah, in
there
advance.
is, yeah,
So how would you do that?
letting them know that if there's another better offer that comes in, you're gonna have to either come up with cash or. Like, you basically, you're gonna have to come up with cash, right? What other,
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to have some way to remove that contingency, right? You're gonna have to remove that home sale contingency. What I do is when even before we're writing offers, we know their situation, right? We know that, hey, they got a house to sell, right? Dan, you wanna buy a house? Dan, do you own a house? Do you currently own a house?
Yeah.
Okay. How much do you owe on that house?
geez. Like 180,000.
So 180,000, all right. And it's worth,
300.
Okay, all right. So chances are you probably, unless you make a good income, probably can't afford to do 2 mortgages, right? More
Yeah.
likely. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call my lender or call your lender, and I'm gonna say, hey, Joe, Dan wants to buy a house. He owes 180. Here's his you know, then you're gonna give them all the information on your income and all that. Can he buy this other house? Here's the price that we're looking at. Can he buy this house without selling his? And then your lender's gonna make that determination. Yeah, I can get him approved. Cause they run the numbers and they put it in their
Yeah.
system. Yeah, you know what? I can get him approved to buy a house at this value and he could still make both payments. Then we write the offer with the home sale contingency. B2. I get the phone call that they've accepted another offer. And then I tell you, hey, they got another offer, but you know what? Remember, we checked that before we even did this, and the lender said you could buy both houses. So let's go ahead and remove that. If you're comfortable doing that, we'll go ahead and remove it and we can move forward and close on this house.
So don't most people have that contingency though, because they can't afford to buy two homes?
Yeah, most of them do, but I have in more than a handful of occasions got that. I mean, you get some people that want to buy a house and they own a house. They can afford it, but they just really would like a home sale contingency to give them time
Yeah, no,
to
that's-
sell their house, right? So
I would
I've,
not risk 2 mortgage payments. And it amazes me how many lenders will not volunteer this information. You have to ask them, oh yeah, they can do both. Okay, that would be good to know. up front.
right, and I always ask,
Yeah.
and that's one of the first things I ask when it's a home sale contingency. Or, you know, that we're sitting there with the buyer doing a buyer consult. And, you know, I ask them if they own a house. Yeah, I do. Do you guys sell it? Well, yeah, I'd like to sell it. No, do you have to sell it? Can you buy this house? Can you buy a new house without selling yours? Because that way we could get one under contract. You can take your time moving. And then we can get your house ready and put it on the market. That's my favorite thing to do because a lot of people, you know, then they don't have to worry about showings and all that kind of stuff. And they don't think about that, you know? So when you talk to the lender, you have a conversation with the lender. Oh, yeah, we can do that. So
So
they
you
don't,
don't have to worry about them being homeless too if something goes wrong.
right? Right, so that's the best way I combat that. But I have those conversations up front with my clients, so I know what to expect. Didn't we have one recently with one of our agents? They wrote the offer. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the deal, after it was accepted, the lender informed them that they needed to sell their house first.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Yeah,
Sleep.
yeah.
Well, that's kind of the vendor's fault, right? Because they said you can.
Well, I guess, I don't know.
Unless the guy loses his job or something.
Yeah, somebody dropped the ball somewhere and, you know. Yeah, probably the lender should have put it on the approval letter. Yeah, they will put it on the approval letter that, hey, they need to sell their house because they've got stipulations on the approval letter, right? I can't remember exactly how it was, but yeah, they had to go back and say, my bad. It's a home sale contingency. That didn't go over well.
Which sucks, but at the end of the day, the buyer can get out on the financing.
Oh,
Yeah,
But
yeah. Financing, that you can always get out by financing, but it is illegal for a lender to falsify that. So don't think you just call your lender and say, yeah, you know what, they want out. Can you not approve them anymore? They can't do that. They would have to go do something dumb. Or,
So you're like, well, I'm about to get fired tomorrow. If you wanted to try to back out on financing or something, I don't know.
or go buy a car, go buy
Oh,
a bed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had that too. We didn't lose it. We didn't lose it.
Really?
We were selling a pretty expensive house. And our guy pulls up to do the home inspection. And he pulls up in a brand new vet. It had to have been an $85,000 vet. And I'm like, oh my God. I called the lender when I was, I called the lender when I was standing in the parking lot or in the driveway. And I go, did you know he did this? Yeah, he told me. He's still good. I'm like, okay.
Should have sold a more expensive house.
But yeah, really. So anyway, but yeah, that I don't say that that's good to do, but I guess it can get out that way. All right, so home sale contingency, that's 8B2, 8B1 above, that is really heavy for the seller. So 8B1 as agents representing the buyer, we're probably not gonna write an 8B1 contract.
That would be something that they would counter.
That would be something that they would counter, yep. I usually write 8B3s or 8B2s. 8B3 is, so anyway, 8B1 is where they can just kick us out. If we get an 8B1, or if we do an 8B2 and they counter an 8B1, then I'm gonna say to my client and say, all right, this means that we're under contract, but if they get another offer, they call us up and we're done. We have no chance to do anything. Okay, so probably not the best situation for your buyer. 8B3 is probably the best situation for your buyer. And that is where they accept it. And we have X amount of days. If you flip it over to the page before, we're gonna put in within blank calendar days. And that's where you get to suggest how many days that they're gonna give us to get our house under contract. Okay? Usually 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. 60 is a little long. People aren't gonna go for that. 45 is, that seems to be kind of the magic number I've found. I don't know.
I always put within the time frame to sell the seller's property, to line up the closing dates. And I can't remember a single time I've had somebody counter that. I just take the entire contract period.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know if I've ever had a listing agent push back on
Mm. Well,
it.
I mean, you know what? Do what you can do, right?
Yeah,
I mean, those kind of things is you're working with you're working for your buyer on that. And you want as much time as you can get to sell your client's property in order to buy this new one. We had an agent and have you ever been in a situation where you see something and you go, why doesn't it make sense? So do I really know what this means? Have you ever? Yeah. So we had a deal. We had the seller and a very experienced agent from another firm wrote an offer with the home sale contingency, then wrote it 8B1. And Craig brought it into me and he goes, maybe I don't understand the home sale contingency thing. And I looked at it and I go, and I'm teaching the classes and I'm going, maybe I don't understand it. So, and of course I knew it, but you really second guess yourself when somebody else does it. And it was just like, yeah, here you go.
was it a mistake?
It was a mistake. It was a mistake. We accepted it. Because I said, no, we can kick them out. We accepted it. We got another offer a few weeks later. And called him up and he goes, well, I've got whatever, I've got until X amount of time to get this done. Or, to get our house sold, and we said, no, you check 8B1. Just kind of a pause, silence, he goes, are you kidding me? No, I didn't, and he pulled it up and bleep, bleep, bleep. Sorry,
Rough.
yeah, and his client lost it. So, now I know for sure I understand it now.
Wait, so what were you saying about how long you put in for the days on?
So what's the wording? Sorry if I can. I always check. So the first one is within whatever many calendar days of acceptance of offer, right? But the second one is within the time specified for closing the seller's property. That's the seller you're making the offer to's property, meaning I have until closing day to get my buyer's home booked.
That to me I always thought that was the weirdest statement. Within the time specified for closing the seller's property.
In other words, the same closing date that's on that contract.
That's what it is.
Yep. Seller meaning this seller's property, the one you're making the offer on.
So it's basically. If you have closing date to be August 30th.
Then it'll be August
Okay.
30th.
Well, what if I write? Usually what I do when I write these contracts. I'm gonna write closing date, when we get to the closing date, I'm gonna write C. Other provisions or C number 20 or 21 or whatever it is now. 23. I'm gonna say C number 23 and in other provisions, I'm gonna say closing to be 45 days after. On or before 45 days after our house goes under contract. So there's really not a closing date.
Yeah. I would counter you all day long on that. I would.
Well,
So I think
we
we're
don't
both
do a lot of
accomplishing the same thing.
Well, see,
Because
that's where I don't know if that means seller's property, or does that mean my buyer, because my buyer's the seller on his property. That's why it's very, I don't
It's
know.
definitely the seller that you're writing the offer to. Tim and I actually, this was quite a while ago, took that to office's attorney, I think, to
Okay.
clarify. I
Okay,
think that's who we took.
so you had an
It
attorney.
was that or Carol? But I don't think she would have answered that question, so it must have been the attorney.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I just line them up, so if I put. And now, then I'll put like a 45 or 60 day closing date on mine.
Mhm.
And by checking that box, I've lined it up, so you and I are accomplishing the same thing, just doing it in. Taking different paths to get there,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think a lot of agents understand that, because that is such a poorly
Never.
written.
I've never had somebody counter that I remember.
So, bottom line is, when you write your purchase agreement, and you have a home sale contingency. Let me know and I'll come in and help you with your client on that. You want to give your client the best advantage that you can. I really like 8B3. Knowing that they're probably gonna counter me. And if I get an 8B3 as a seller, I'm gonna counter them 8B2. Because I'm gonna do a right of refusal, because I don't like the 8B3 as a seller agent. Because that hangs me out too long, right? But if you can write it as a buyer agent, and you've got an agent on the other side that either it doesn't understand it, or doesn't care, or skims over it and doesn't inform their seller, you could have a longer period of time. So, so 8B3, if you're the buyer, thinking you're probably gonna get countered to 8B2, and that's fine with me too. And if it is 8B2, wait it out and make sure that you know that your client can remove that contingency. And if that's the greatest feeling in the world, when you're writing an 8B2 contract, knowing that let's try to sell the house, and if we get pushed where we have to accept it, we can. Because we know that you can buy it now without really selling the house. So you keep that home sale contingency, but you can remove it when you're forced to. So that's really nice. Don't ever say anything to the other agent. Just if you get that, then then you say, oh yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll get that over to you right away. And the lender will update their letter saying that they can purchase it. So that's, you also need it in writing by the lender.
Can I tell a quick story?
Yep.
So I'm on the listing side of one right now, and we got the offer in. And home sale contingency, and they of course selected 8B3, that we can't fire them while they get their home sold. So I looked up their house and his marketing, and in my opinion, it's overpriced, but not exactly a stellar market, so we really wanted to take the offer. So we countered back with 8B1, and we get to keep the houses listed as active on the MLS. Meaning we could fire them the second we get another offer that we like. They accepted it.
Wow.
Then ran their home inspection. And on the home inspection contingency release, and this house is in really good shape. It's only 5 years old. It's been a rental, but I'm the property manager. It's in good shape. But they picked it apart, all this little stuff, and then they wanted all the carpet changed out, or we can list it as 8B2 and under contract on MLS and give them 72 hours. So they're trying to strong arm us to get us to list it as under contract and not be able to immediately fire them if we get another offer. Which I thought was both kind of crappy on this agent's part, but kind of brilliant at the same time. So respect. But we weren't gonna just get bullied around, and I wanted to protect my seller, so we ended up countering back that we would make no repairs. That we would accept their 8B2 with 72 hours. But in exchange, you're gonna take the price of your house down to this, and I dictated their price. And you have until August 10th to get out of the contract. Sure, not the contract. And they accepted it.
They accepted that.
Some of
They
the
got it under contract yet?
yeah, they took their price drop on Monday. I dropped them 15 grand on their price, and they did it.
That, when you told me that, I was like, I didn't even think of that.
No, he's overpriced. So
Yeah, that was really good. See,
that's
that
my
just,
favorite part of all this.
yeah, that just goes to show you that you can get really creative if you sit and think about it, brainstorm, talk to other agents, don't talk to any other agent, talk to your brokers, because then you're in a limited agency situation, right? Or
You can take ideas from any agents.
yeah.
But contract specific, go to your broker.
Yeah, and don't, if you're talking to other agents, don't talk detail kind of thing. Yeah, and especially if you're writing an offer for something. A hypothetical, that's fine. You can talk to other agents, you can get ideas from other agents, and that's why I like these settings. Gosh, if we had a couple other seasoned agents sitting in here talking about this, it'd take us three different weeks to get through this whole thing. It's only gonna take us 2 this time. But I mean, you get all sorts of ideas and all sorts of different scenarios, just like an appraiser. You had 2 appraisers doing the same house, you get 2 different answers. Okay, do you kind of understand home sale contingency? All right. Okay. Well, we got a couple minutes. Let's talk about title. Number 9 talks about title. Merchantable title shall be conveyed by warranty deed. This means that you are asking that seller, hey, Mr. Seller, you're gonna make sure that there's no liens or judgments against this property. You're gonna provide a standard title insurance policy for me to protect me in the event that a judgment or lien gets placed on the house after I buy it, that was your fault, right? So that standard should be checked. If they've done work on the house, a new roof, did some addition or redid the bathroom, basement, kitchen, whatever, and you're a little worried about that maybe their subs haven't been paid, check standard with material labor lien. Something I didn't realize that you probably do, it's a 6-month thing. So if they did a kitchen remodel and it was a year ago, doesn't matter. Cause they can't put a lien on it, is that right, or what?
They have 6 months to file it.
They have 6 months from the last nail that was put in.
Yeah.
And if they miss that, then they must have to go through them a different way, sue them or whatever, they can't place the lien on the house. Which I didn't know that until
Yeah,
maybe a year or so ago.
and the part that gets me is the suppliers can lien the house too. So I had this happen to me last year. So like Lowe's is a major distributor of shingles in town. A lot of the roofers use them. So I ran into one where the roof had been redone. And the bill to Lowe's had been paid, but Lowe's simply screwed up and didn't recognize the payment. And I found out through that process of getting that cleared up is what Lowe's does is when a contractor comes in and orders shingles, they get the address from that contractor and they write up a lien right then and there. And then if the bill doesn't get paid, they file it. And that's what had happened to us. So they write a lien on every single property.
Really?
Yep. And they just don't file them unless it doesn't get paid.
And this one, they missed it. and then
We could
filed
prove the Bolt Roofing, I should say, could prove payment. Lowe's had simply screwed up and filed a lien we shouldn't have. And so it was an easy fix. First American took care of it in a heartbeat, but that was a learning experience for me. Like, I didn't realize that's how this all worked.
Wow.
It makes perfect sense if it
Yeah.
was, but
Boy, they must have that happen to them a lot. If
Yeah.
they write a lien
I
right
assume so.
away. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. All right, I think we're gonna stop there. We'll pick it up next week at number 10, and if you want to mark it and say this is where we're picking it up, and we'll finish up purchase agreements. And then the next class, before we move on to other forms and purchase agreements, we're gonna have you guys write up your own purchase agreement. Just gonna pick out a property.
That'll be good.
And then you'll get a good chance to fill it out. And then we're gonna do a home sale contingency. So you're gonna write it up with a home sale.
And then we have to see if Chris accepts it and he'll be like, no, it's gonna be.
And then after home inspection removal.
Yeah, he's gonna counter everything. Yeah, he'll counter everything and make life hell for him.
It's the 39 days.
And text you at 10:30.